Hello, 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 my listeners. This is Victor Doctor, and this is the 60th episode of Good Morning BSS World podcast. Enjoy the show. Today, with a special guest from Kiev, from Ukraine. My special guest is Konstantin Vasyuk, who is working for IT Ukraine. Hi, Kostya.
Hi everybody.
How are you doing today?
So very fine. We have beautiful weather in Kiev, and we have a lot of information around all the in politics and economics. And now maybe today is the time to speak about very interesting topic. Yes, Victor?
Yes, absolutely. We are not going to touch any politics, any military things, but we will go deeper into the IT section and this area, which Ukraine actually is very popular of, and IT, if it comes to the industries which are now developing in your country, is on the very, very top. So maybe let's go deeper into that. You are heading the IT Ukraine, which is the biggest IT association in your country. Can you share just a few words about who is IT Ukraine and how this organization is organized?
So we established, the association was established more than 15 years ago. And up to today, we have more than 100 members. And among these companies, mostly it's service and product companies. Among these members, we have top 15 companies in Ukraine. And in general, we unite more than 75,000 people working in our member companies. So we represent quite essential parts of IT community as well, if we speak about people. But mainly, we focused on government relations, education, and international promotion of Ukraine like IT destination country.
75,000 people employed by your members.
Exactly. And according to our recently issued report, we have almost 300,000 people, IT people in Ukraine.
300,000 people in Ukraine as total working in the various IT companies.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so if you mentioned this report, actually this is one of the topics which I wanted deeper cover in this podcast today with you. You have created this report based on the data covered by you from the last year, and I am more than sure that there are a lot of interesting information which we may take out of this report. So let's go with that.
Exactly. First of all, I should say that this report is the only one for recent 3 years. We have not updated information, and so we mostly, industry mostly operated, and the state as well, most operated with common information which is 3 years old. So, and especially it was interesting to see what are the changes and what figures we have up to date, and what progress maybe we have. And exactly we found it. We have huge progress in growth of the industry in terms of export of services, in terms of quantity of people working in the industry, and other issues. So, and even the areas of expertise of the companies, which is always changing, and year to year we have new requirements from the market, and so we should catch up with it. So anyway, report shows the current state of the industry of new economics in Ukraine. So, and huge growth of this industry mirrored by the global trends, because global demand for digitalization, digital transformation is also growing. So we work for external market mostly. More than 95% of IT exports from Ukraine. These are markets, of course, of United States, Great Britain, and etc. So anyway, we in the very beginning of the big success, I think, and this report shows this and proves this fact.
95% of export.
Yeah, mostly. Of course, internal Ukrainian market is also growing, and businesses now ready pay market prices for these services as well, because our businesses and most of the most successful companies, businesses in Ukraine, I mean national businesses, they have IT departments which, for example, one of the company has 1,000 plus people, and it was a surprise for me because it's not IT companies, it's retail and it's supply chain, let's say. So, and this integration of IT knowledges, IT expertise, shows that we have a new stage of the development of internal market. So our companies can provide services for both markets. The issue is who will pay the price, because it's global competitive prices.
Yeah, that's very much true. You mentioned already that within this export, you are exporting those services to US, UK, and what are the other, let's say, top destinations where the services are going?
I would say that we have at least 10 top destinations, and what is important, this all of these countries, destinations, so export markets are growing. So if we speak, for example, Malta, Israel, Germany, Canada, Denmark, Netherlands, and so United States is #1 and Great Britain #2 today. But the growth for these previous 5 years is very impressive for all directions. And more details you will find in the report, but the main topic of growth is request and strong demand for digital transformation of businesses. And this is very simple, and the picture shows it's very clear.
Okay, so digital transformation is the key element within that, and US, UK, and then the northern and the west part of Europe, including Malta, which is quite small destination, but having big requirements.
Yeah, a lot of US companies have branches there.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Okay, so maybe let's talk about the business, let's say, locations within the Ukraine where the IT companies are being located and those services are providing to this external market. So besides Kyiv, what are the main cities where the IT business is located now?
So we have exactly IT centers in Ukraine, and if we speak about the scale of the centers, so next one is Kharkiv, next one is Kharkiv, Lviv, Dnipro, and Odessa, and these main 5 cities, including Kyiv, these 5 centers of IT, let's say, but again, we have more than 20 IT clusters in Ukraine. It's let's say communities in smaller regions, smaller cities, but they have also very fast growing trends, and they have now with online employment no problem to employ people all over Ukraine. So, but again, offline is important, but now the borders disappeared. And not these 5 centers remains like the main centers, because in Kyiv, for example, we have almost 100,000 people. And of course, if you want to hire people, you can go to Kyiv and hire people, but you also can hire people online. So in Kharkiv, it's 40,000 people, and accordingly, Lviv is 31,000. Yeah, so I mean, we have centers, but regions is also valuable because a bit lower price, maybe a bit better, flexibility, and a less competitive atmosphere, maybe sometimes.
Okay, no, that's absolutely clear. So big 5, let's say, cities as a hubs where the main business is located, but then everything else is rather like the virtual, let's say, other elements of this cloud of companies who are providing the IT services. Let's focus a little bit on the type of services which are being provided from Ukraine. So you mentioned that this is digital transformation as a one of them, but what are other IT services where Ukraine is strong at?
So I mean, it's very good news that we strong in most important and most common expertises and directions. For example, if we speak about e-commerce, banking and finance, transport and logistics, retail, of course, healthcare and medicine, and these are fast-growing sectors. Automotive, for example, this crisis in automotive, but it doesn't connect it to this, let's say, software development or product development. There are some chips deficit, but automotive expertise is very strong in Ukraine. And when we speak about again our markets, our target markets, so in the United States, we have demand for all these expertises. And in Europe, maybe it's banking, healthcare. Banking, it's very fast developing sector because in Europe, if we compare Ukraine and European countries, even so, number one, two, and three in Europe, this quite old-fashioned system. Yeah, I mean, in banking sphere, in Ukraine, you make transfer very fast and easy. You have virtual banks and etc. etc. In Europe, we know that it's quite a bit harder to transfer card to card, for example, money, and etc. So banking sphere is changing in Europe, so they have this demand, and it's one of the examples. So, and if you speak about healthcare again, it's now on the top because these issues with health and pandemic and everything. So I mean that Ukraine still remains very high qualified spot, I mean, expertise and people who already, how to say, change very fast, even provide high level of their own expertise, and they can teach fast for new technologies. So I mean, AI, of course, as well. Next big thing, metaverse, it will be also maybe Ukrainian people there. Developers there.
You mentioned that the previous analysis of the market took part 3 years ago. So now this is another one after 3 years. What, from your point of view, are the game changers? So what changed the most within this period of time?
It's interesting, but growth is very stable. And the growth from 2011, year 2011 and up till 2021, we have the stable growth 25+% per year, and this trend still remains. And
25% year to year within the last decade.
It's like average, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's really, and we have forecast in our report. We have 3 conservative, baseline, and optimistic scenarios. And in the very conservative scenarios, we forecasted 16% of growth up to 2025. Yeah, but it's very, let's say, conservative, maybe even pessimistic scenario. It shows this graph is very straight and going up. But what is interesting, what findings we have already? So it's about talents, about education, and about the potential of Ukraine in comparison with the neighbor countries and our, let's say, of course, competitors for talents, including Poland, by the way. But we have for example, number of ICT graduates, yeah, per 100,000 people. We have the largest number among all the neighbor countries. So I mean that we have potential to educate people and to have additional pool of talents to the market in next 3-5 years. This is very good news for Ukraine and for Ukrainian IT, because we have all huge deficit of senior level and mid-level people in IT. If we speak about software development and product development. So, and technical and non-IT jobs as well, because it's creative industry and we need designers, yeah, and managers as well. And again, it's people. These people should come from somewhere. We have this potential and educational pool for next 5 years. It's very okay, good.
So between 16 and 25% in your assumptions to the year 2025, yeah?
Exactly.
That's a very
24, optimistic 24.3, I see the figures, and conservative 16.7% growth.
And that's across the whole country.
Exactly.
Okay. I can also notice that actually Ukrainian companies are quite, let's say, aggressively or bravely entering also foreign markets, like in Poland, where I am based at. There are present a lot of Ukrainian companies who have decided to grow also outside of the country. So they have presence within Ukraine in certain locations, like, for example, Infopulse or SoftServe, who are well-known international brands, but their origination is coming from Ukraine. They are now also present in Poland and some other countries. Are there more such examples?
Yes, exactly. Because we have observed that a lot of companies, so they are as they are growing and become mature, so they open offices in different countries. And now a lot of our members have offices, more than 3, 4, 5 offices abroad. And the growth on these offices as well is very unexpectedly fast. So I mean, we have such not in only Europe, because Europe overheated as well. You know, we have a deficit of talents in Europe. And second issue again, so more stable business, more closer to the customer, yeah, or maybe some other conditions which customer provides. And so maybe this, and of course the presence in the markets. Well, for example, for product companies, we know that product should be closer to the customer. Software development, it doesn't matter where the team is, yeah, but product should be closer. And maybe European market, again, it's more interesting as well. We started one big project with our Ministry of Foreign Affairs, IT Export Boost. Or recently, last year, we started this project. Now we work for more than 20 markets, target markets. And not simultaneously, but we have top 5 markets in priority, where we will provide some offline events, some meetings, B2B meetings, some activities, and of course, information, which we provide to these markets, to these people, to embassies, etc. So we supply exactly this report, for example, because it was sent over the 100 plus countries, embassies of Ukraine in other countries. And because we're proud of these achievements, we want to share it, like also like opportunity for customers, for other countries to take some part of our experience, our expertise. Why not? It's like our competitive advantage now.
And what are those top 5 destinations?
So of course it's European countries. It's Nordic countries. I mean several, and German, UK of course. And we are looking forward to Switzerland. Exactly. We plan some events this year, and this is mostly our focus for this year. We go in step by step.
So Scandinavia, the DACH region, and the far and the Western Europe. Yeah. I'm not surprised. Those are absolutely the very, let's say, tasty destinations with the customers of really high needs, and also the very big difference when it comes to the cost level of the IT services. Because if we have in mind, for example, Scandinavia or Switzerland, which you mentioned, yeah, there is a huge difference on the cost basis when it comes to the access to the human resources who can support the IT services.
And huge lack of these resources. Yeah.
Oh, definitely, absolutely, yes. You mentioned also the international presence, and that Europe is a little bit overheated. Yeah, we can see that this is much tougher than it was a few years ago. And there are some examples also coming from Ukraine that companies are now opening their branches in APAC region. So like in Singapore, for example, or that part of the world. And the second destination is the South America with Colombia, for example, or this kind of destinations. Yeah.
Yeah. And our members among these companies, which open these destinations.
Konstantin, what else did you find out within this report which you would like to share with us?
So I think interesting fact about switchers, again about talents, because switchers, people from other professions who able and capable to enter IT, to have some education courses, additional education, and for a short period of time, half a year up to 1 year, and then they start like junior and middle people in IT companies. And this is very this is trend, and now a lot of companies ready to employ such people and ready to invest in their education. And this trend gives us a hope somehow to manage this lack of talented people, because educational system, general educational system itself, it issues, let's say, 25,000 people, but our demand now 50,000 per year, and switchers can cover some percentage. And this is maybe also because recently, let's say 2 years ago, there were no any information about companies, let's say, readiness to accept these people or to have interview with them. Now we have more than 50% of companies ready to have interviews and ready to proceed and invest in their education, further education. And this is good, again, good news, because we have some chance to manage to mitigate this deficit. For Ukraine, of course, I'm speaking about Ukraine, but our company global, they are now global with global offices. So anyway, they decide where to grow, where to hire people. But if there is no people, there are no people, you will not hire. So switchers, maybe this is trend which we found it. And of course, that a lot of trainings and programs, not official, not classic education, a lot of business trainings, and they also give a lot of people to the market. This is maybe one of trends.
So, for example, if I am, let's say, a waiter, then I can apply to a software house where I can be trained and prepared for the junior or middle position as an IT, let's say, beginner.
Yeah.
It's a very nice expression, to be a switcher. I heard a lot of different, let's say, descriptions of people who are changing jobs, but this switcher actually is a very interesting description of a real switch of a profile of a person.
And what is also interesting, because most of these people, they have technical education, they have life experience, they quite mature for this profession as well. Of course, IT maybe not suits for 100% people, but if you're willing to change your occupation, to change your life for better and have new opportunities, and it's good opportunity to, with not huge, let's say, resources needed for this, just your time and your intention and some money maybe for payments for these trainings, but again,
okay. Konstantin, we have talked a little bit about the trends. So we have touched the markets which are the export markets for Ukraine. We have also covered the areas of the cities where the IT industry is located currently. We have also touched the human touch with those switchers. And now, maybe because of the fact that those switchers need some education to be well prepared for this new type of job, let's maybe focus on the IT events which you organize for the industry or for the clients of the IT industry. What are the main IT events which are being organized in Ukraine?
So currently in Ukraine, maybe we have up to 10 events, which is yearly. They grow year to year. Of course, the previous 2 years were not so successful, according to,
As everywhere.
yeah, as everywhere. But again, it gives another chance to transform events to online, to hybrid mode. And recently, I would like to say that I would emphasize that, of course, Lviv IT Arena is the most famous event.
I've been there.
Yeah, which gathers thousands of people. And this year, last year, it was also combined with online and offline. So of course we have we have some projects and thoughts about new events in IT Ukraine associations. Currently we have very also famous and important IT synergy, education and business. It's also we provide this since 2014. And again, we grow year to year. So of course we have some keyword sourcing forum, other gathering of IT people. And according to our report, we have almost 200, more than 200 conferences during 1 year in Ukraine. Of course, there are smaller, bigger one, and I just mentioned the largest one. So, but it's again, it's life, you know, it's like active life and community.
200 per year. Yeah. So you organize it every day besides weekend.
But it's not our conferences. It's different communities, and we have very huge gaming industry, for example. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They have organized a lot of interesting meetups, everything, and professional meetups. It's another part, because each week you have a lot of events in calendar you can choose, and it's more than 400 meetups, and etc. etc. So we have quite, and we are thinking about new formats, new events, and of course we'll invite and people who's watching on us also will be invited, and of course IT awards. This is competitive, so it's interesting. It's competition of IT talents, etc. So a lot of events, and on our calendar and our website you can find some of them, and of course in our main resources in media, IT media, we can find this. So a lot of events in Ukraine.
Okay.
And the quantity is growing.
It sounds so. It sounds so. So maybe now the final question. You have mentioned a lot of information coming out of your report, and this sounds like a very, very interesting publication. So now the question is, why people should download your report? And if you provide the answer to why, tell me how to download it, where we can find this report.
So, but I will answer both questions. Why? Because you will have concentrated information in one report about different parts of IT industry in Ukraine, because we focused on very wide audience, from investors to IT people, and everyone will find information available for him. It's why, and where on our website we will provide the link. You can download in English or Ukrainian version, so it's absolutely free. And of course, we will be glad to have some feedback or questions if there are some, because it's only version 1, and next year will be version 2, so which will be improved again and again. So you're welcome.
Thank you very much. I will make sure actually to add the links to your webpage to this report, to make it easy to download your publication. It's great that it is in English. I only wish it's not in Polish, but okay, we can deal with it.
Next year will be.
Next year will be in Polish. Okay, Konstantin, thank you very much. I will also add a link to your LinkedIn to the description of this podcast, because maybe some people will have some extra questions which they would like to ask you directly.
Victor, thank you very much. It was great to speak, and of course we are open for further cooperation and further for the action to develop our creative industry in the world, not only in Ukraine and Poland.
I will keep my fingers very much crossed for the growth in Ukraine, but also for the further expansions of Ukrainian great businesses, which we have in Poland, but they are also in many, many more countries already, providing excellent and state-of-the-art services to the worldwide clients. Thank you, Konstantin.
Exactly. Thank you, Victor.